My love of neighbor, loving God, loving neighbor, was small. Like, I loved the people in my circle. You know, when you have a small sense of God, which up to that point I had a pretty small sense of God, your sense of neighbor is going to be small. You can't have a love relationship with a small God and then have a big sense of neighbor, or vice versa. If you're in love with a big God, you're going to have a sense of big neighbor. And so my neighbors were very small. And watching Mother Teresa, obviously she loved God and her vehicle was the Catholic Church. But her deal was, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Hindu, and I help you grow more in love with your sense of God, I am doing my work. And that helped me get a bigger sense of the community, of God, of neighbor. And so what began to happen, and this is what launched me into a whole different direction, was when you have a big sense of God, a growing sense of neighbor, it's not just about the people that you love and are in this circle, it's about the bigger circle. And all of a sudden, I started to ask different questions. Up until that point, and this was a profound piece for my journey of giving food to the hungry. I needed that piece. But what the next piece was, is to ask, why do the poor have no food? I started asking different questions. And there's a beautiful Brazilian bishop, Dom Helder Câmara, and he said, when I gave food to the poor, they called me a saint. When I asked why the poor had no food, they called me a communist. And that's what we started moving into. Why do the poor not have food? Why are there people in Pajarito Mesa, or places right here in my own backyard, that are living in cardboard boxes, that have no electricity? In one of the wealthiest countries, why are people going without health care? So do you see where the questions began to take a different turn? Now, let me tell you something. What begins to happen? I want something concrete. And this is, I think, something of our culture we want to fix. We want to do this, feel better about ourselves because I've just fed you. To ask the justice questions, you are left with a lot of unknown answers. And again, it's the wrestling with those that take you to deeper places. So I'm going to keep encouraging. The questions are great. It's wrestling with those questions that take us to deeper places.